After a few days in the center of Tokyo, it was time to head somewhere else. There's always another side of Tokyo waiting just beyond the city center. Tokyo can feel almost endless. There's always another neighborhood, another street, another station to discover. But just outside the center, the character of the city begins to change. From my hotel, the first part of the journey took me toward Ikebukuro, one of Tokyo's major railway hubs. After arriving there, it was time to change trains and continue toward Kawagoe. The journey became quieter as we moved further away from central Tokyo. What started as the familiar rhythm of the city gradually became a different kind of landscape. After another train ride, I finally arrived at Kawagoe Station. But the historic part of Kawagoe wasn't right outside the station. I still had another short journey ahead, this time by bus. It's just a short ride. Kawagoe is about an hour from central Tokyo, but it feels quite different. One of its most recognizable landmarks is Toki No Kane, or the Bell of Time. Standing in the historic district, the bell tower has been a symbol of Kawagoe for centuries. The original tower was built during the Edo period, which lasted from 1603 to 1868, that long time ago. But it was destroyed several times by fire. The current structure dates back to the late Edo period. Even today, the bell continues to ring at set times throughout the day, much like it did in the past. If you notice, the district wasn't very crowded at this time of the day. This was around 9 in the morning. While I do enjoy festive and lively atmospheres, I personally prefer quieter moments like this, when there are fewer people around and you can really take your time with the place. For me, it's easier to appreciate the history and character of Kawagoe when the streets are quiet. You can look around, take in the buildings, and simply spend some time experiencing the atmosphere without too many distractions. So I took some time to walk around and enjoy the scenery, and honestly, this is also the perfect time to take photos for Instagram or even get a good thumbnail for the vlog. At the same time, I was also curious to see how different the area would feel later in the day, when more people arrive and the streets start to come alive. Now that I had seen the streets like this, I became curious about what some of Kawagoe's well-known spots would feel like before the crowds arrived, so I started walking. Sometimes I like to walk around in new places so that I can get to know it. I have the option to take the public transport such as the bus, but I think I want to walk around the neighborhood. We live in this day and age wherein we can go anywhere we want, thanks to Google Maps. The moment you see that arc, you know that you are in the right direction. Like I said earlier, it really pays to be early at the destination. Look, I'm the only tourist around here. As you are walking, you will be guided by the red lamppost and also a familiar looking building. Kita-in feels like a quiet pocket of another time. The red pagoda rises above the trees, while the old temple buildings sit quietly beneath their heavy tiled roofs. There's something very Japanese about the way the structures seem to disappear into the surroundings. Nothing feels overly monumental. The architecture is restrained, detailed, and deeply connected to the landscape. But Kitaen carries a history that extends far beyond Kawagoe. The temple was founded more than 1,000 years ago, but much of what we see today dates from the Edo period. After a fire destroyed much of the temple in 1638, several buildings from Edo Castle were transferred here. Edo Castle once stood in what's now the heart of Tokyo. So, in a way, walking through Kitaen is also walking among fragments of Tokyo's past, architecture that was carefully dismantled, moved, and given another life here in Kawagoe. And perhaps that is what makes this place so fascinating. As I walk around Kitaen, I found myself looking less at the individual buildings and more at the spaces between them. The shadow beneath the roofs, the texture of the timber, the way the trees frame the architecture, and how the entire temple seems to slow you down. And maybe that's what I like about places like this. They don't ask you to stop and admire them. They simply create an atmosphere that makes you want to stay. In front of Kitaen, I came across this little shop. Everything around here seemed pretty quiet, but looking at the shop, I had the feeling it might be a very different scene later in the day. Maybe I was just early. I wandered around the smaller area beside Kitaen and eventually came across Senba Toshogu. It's a small shrine dedicated to Tokugawa Ieyasu. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. It's tucked away behind this long flight of steps and surrounded by trees. And right at the bottom is Cafe Udon, a small cafe inside the shrine grounds. They serve coffee, cakes, pastries, and even curry, so it seemed like a pretty good place to stop after exploring the area. I wasn't expecting to find a cafe here at all. From Kitaen, I took a bus to my next stop, Kawagoe Hikawa Shrine. I got off a little way from the shrine, so I had a short walk through the neighborhood. The area felt quite different from the more touristy parts of Kawagoe. It was mostly residential, with quiet streets and houses along the way. I actually noticed this house that I thought was quite nicely designed. I kept walking, and after a few minutes, the entrance to Hikawa Shrine finally came into view. The shrine itself is said to be around 1,500 years old, so it has been part of the area for a very long time. Today, it's particularly known as a shrine for relationships and matchmaking. You'll find people here praying for good relationships, marriage, and family. Walking around the grounds, there are quite a few things to look at. The main shrine buildings are surrounded by large trees, and there are smaller shrines and structures scattered around the grounds. And depending on the season, the shrine can look quite different. During summer, for example, hundreds of glass wind chimes or furin are hung around the grounds. Each one has a small strip of paper with a wish written by a visitor. It's one of the things that makes Hikawa Shrine particularly recognizable. But even without the seasonal decorations, I found the grounds interesting to walk around. There are little details everywhere, from the wooden buildings to the smaller objects and decorations. You will also find Emma, these small wooden plaques where visitors write their wishes and prayers. Then, as you make your way out, You finally come across the entrance I had seen from the street earlier. The enormous orange story stands at the end of the approach, rising above everything around it. At about 15 meters high, it's one of the largest wooden torii in Japan. Just behind the shrine is the Shingashi River. The river runs right along the back of Hikawa Shrine, and apparently it's quite a popular spot in spring when the cherry trees along the banks are in bloom. It's a nice little change from the shrine grounds, so I walk along the river for a bit before heading back inside. Back at the shrine, I noticed this huge tree standing along the steps. There are actually several old trees around the grounds, including a sacred Zelkova that's more than 600 years old. And then there were just little red fish everywhere. They're actually fortune slips called taimikuji, and instead of picking one up, you fish them out with a little fishing rod, some sort of a fortune-telling game. The fortune is inside the fish, so you basically have to catch your luck. I thought that was a pretty fun way to end my visit to Hikawa Shrine. While walking around Kawagoe's famous street, I stumbled upon this little place and got curious when I saw the Mentaiko. It actually reminded me of a bit of a siopa or a bun, so I decided to try it. It was 500 yen, and this was my first time trying cod. The texture was soft and tender, and the taste was quite savory and sweet, but definitely something new to me. I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but that's what I enjoy about walking around Japan. You see something unfamiliar, get curious, and just try it. Since I wanted to clean my palate, I stumbled upon this little ice cream shop along the street. Little did I know that when I walked in, it was actually a chocolate shop. I just wanted ice cream. But once I started looking around, I realized that I had so much more than that. There were all these different chocolates and beautifully packaged treats, from individual pieces to boxes that would make really nice souvenirs. And then I found even more colorful gift boxes, which immediately caught my attention. So what started as me simply looking for something to refresh my palate turned into something discovering an entire chocolate shop. And honestly, I wasn't complaining. I decided to walk along Kawagoe's main street, not the pedestrianized one. And then I noticed on one side, I saw a shop. It is actually a glass workshop. And then I entered. You can see the glass being shaped and blown, which is really fascinating to watch. I was especially drawn to these colorful glass sticks. I think these are pieces of glass that can eventually be heated and molded into different objects and shapes. And there are so many finished pieces around the shop as well. I think this would be a really nice place to look for souvenirs or trinkets because the pieces feel much more personal than the usual tourist items. There are also these small objects and accessories that you can use to customize your own work. So even if you don't end up doing the workshop, it's still a fun little place to browse and find something handmade to bring home. You can see the heavy black plaster walls, the timber structure, the large tiled irimoya roof, and these 5 small hinged windows on the second floor. But what I found interesting is that this isn't just a shop. Inside, you can browse all kinds of ceramics and glassware, including pieces by local pottery artists, which makes it more meaningful. There's also a pottery workshop where you can actually try making your own pottery. And inside the same historic building, there's also Cafe Toroko, where you can have a meal featuring Kawagoe's famous sweet potato in a mini kaiseki style experience. This is Touho Yamawa. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. A long-established pottery and ceramic shop along Kawagoe's famous Kurazukuri Street. The building itself immediately caught my attention. It was built in 1893 after the Great Kawagoe Fire, and is a great example of the traditional Kura-style architecture that Kawagoe is known for. So you can come here to look at the architecture, shop for a great selection of ceramics, try making your own piece, and even stop for something to eat, all in one place. As I entered, it was already quite crowded, which probably tells you something about how popular this place is. I ended up picking up this Miffy theme tape. I mean, I don't really need it, but it's cute. I also really like these plates. They're just simple, white, and cleaned with a very subtle Miffy detail. I actually find that much more appealing than having the character all over the place. This reminded me of another Miffy store we visited in one of my previous vlogs in the Zaifu near Fukuoka. You can check it out. It's interesting how some character can be turned into a completely different collection of products depending on the place. And here, there are so many things to look through, from household items and little accessories to souvenirs, and of course, all these Miffy-themed baked goods. I'm probably way too old to be buying most of this stuff, but I still find it fascinating. Because it's not really about whether I would personally buy everything here, but I like the idea that a store can take one simple idea, this time it's about Miffy, and build an entire world around it. The products, the packaging, the food, even the way the space feels. It's a very different kind of retail experience, and I think that's what makes this place really special. Kameya Main Store is a historic Japanese confectionery shop founded in 1783, and the present Kura-style building was rebuilt after the 1893 Kawagoe Great Fire. I ended up trying this Sakura Mochi. It was 220 yen or 238 yen, including tax, and I had to get it because I love sweet bean filling as always. It's soft and chewy with a sweet red bean filling inside, and it's wrapped in a salted cherry leaf, which gives it a slightly salty flavor. The mochi is quite sticky, so I actually had to find a separate spot where I could sit down and eat it properly. But I really enjoyed it. It's simple, soft, slightly sweet with that nice contrast from the cherry leaf. This is the famous Nakaichi Honten, a long-established dried food and bonito flake shop. The huge queue that you see is for the grilled rice ball. It's topped with freshly shaped bonito flakes. I got curious about this place because of the long line, and I was getting a little hungry, so I decided to join it. While you're waiting, you can actually look around the shop. It's a traditional dried food store, so there are a lot of different kinds of bonito flakes, dried seafood, and other things you can take home. Then they start grilling these pieces over the charcoal, and you can really smell the soy sauce and the fish as they are waiting. I finally got mine. The grilled rice topped with bonito flakes, and it was around 300 yen. After buying it, I found this little park nearby, where quite a few people were also sitting around and eating. And honestly, the rice itself is quite filling. But what really stands out is the fish. You can really smell the bonito. And the flakes are so light and delicate that they almost melt as you eat them. The flavor is quite strong and savory. It's simple, but definitely something I wouldn't normally come across at home. I decided to try their yakimo brulee. I'm not sure if I pronounced it correctly again, which was 480 yen. They take the roasted sweet potato, add sugar on top, and caramelize it until you get this really nice crisp layer on top. This is basically a sweet potato heaven. There's a bit of a line, but I don't really mind because I've always loved potatoes, and especially sweet potatoes. They have so many different ways of preparing them. You can get different types of roasted sweet potatoes. They even have a sweet potato latte, and there are all of these other sweet potato products. And at the back, there's actually a nice little space where you can sit down and enjoy your food. What I really like about this place is the concept. The setup feels quite familiar, almost like a casual cafe, but the entire place is built around celebrating one thing: sweet potatoes. It actually reminds me of the Miffy store we visited earlier. One simple idea taken far enough that it becomes a whole destination around itself. So after the sweet, I am craving for something noodly and savory. So I looked through the menu and decided to try this one. The mincemeat kamatama udon, which is number 13 for 650 yen. It comes with thick udon, seasoned mincemeat, egg, green onions, and bonito flakes. And it's a good thing that they have a dedicated space for eating, so I could sit down and enjoy it right away. I'm not really an udon person, but I have to say this is actually quite tasty. The egg makes it creamy, while the mincemeat and bonito give it a really savory flavor. For 650 yen, I'd say it's a pretty satisfying little meal. I came across this little shop in Kawagoe called Subi Wood Atelier, and as someone who's always fascinated by woodworking and turning wood into objects, I had to stop and look around. What I found interesting is that this isn't just a shop selling wooden souvenirs. Subi makes all kind of wooden objects, from everyday household items to traditional crafts. What I found interesting is that this isn't just a shop selling wooden souvenirs. Subi makes all kinds of wooden objects, from everyday household items to traditional crafts. And here's a little trivia. The company behind the Atelier has also been involved in designing and making shops and commercial spaces for decades. So making things with wood is really part of a much bigger design practice. They even make some of the distinctive wooden signs you see around Nakawagoe, which I thought was a nice connection between the shop and the town itself. One of the most interesting products is their wooden grinding tools. They make different versions for sesame, matcha, and coffee, and what's fascinating is that they don't use metal. There's something I really like about that. Instead of simply making a familiar object out of wood, they're thinking about what wood can actually do as a material and designing the object around it. I love seeing how something as simple as wood can be transformed into so many different objects, each with its own character, texture, and way of being used. It's a small shop, but it feels like a little celebration of making things by hand, and Kawagoe celebrates it. And this is the Snoopy village here in Kawagoe. What immediately caught my attention is just how far they've taken one simple idea. Imagine two entire floors dedicated to one world of Snoopy and Peanuts. The first floor brings together Snoopy Chaya and Snoopy Chocolate, while the entire second floor is Woodstock Nest, dedicated to Snoopy's little yellow friend Woodstock. And this actually reminds me of what I said earlier about the Miffy store. It's really fascinating when a familiar character isn't simply used as a decoration or put on merchandise, but becomes the entire concept for a destination. Here, the idea extends into everything: the food, the sweets, the products, the graphics, the interiors, and even the way you move through the building. And because this is Kawagoe, they even adapt the concept to the place itself. There are Snoopy products incorporating Kawagoe's traditional streetscape, The bell tower, sweet potatoes, and local design references. It's quite cute. The upstairs, the atmosphere shifts completely into Woodstock world, with yellow details and Woodstock appearing on the walls, floors, and ceiling. That's what I find really interesting about this place in Japan. One idea is taken seriously enough to become a whole environment, and I think that's why they became destinations. This place is a long-established Kawagoe Wagashi shop, founded in 1865, and it specializes in traditional Japanese sweets, many of them connected to Kawagoe sweet potato culture. There's a Japanese garden and a cafe area at the back, so you can actually sit down, enjoy your sweets, and take a break from walking around the old town. I pick up this box of Kuki Ninata Oimo, which basically means sweet potato turned into a cookie. They're shaped and designed to look like little sweet potatoes, and this box comes with 8 pieces for around 1,100 yen. So it was a nice little souvenir, something that also brings together one of the things Kawagoe is particularly known for, which are sweet potatoes. So I came across this little shop for making chopsticks. They have a really interesting experience where you can make your own pair of traditional wooden chopsticks. The workshop takes around 30 minutes and you get to shape your own chopsticks by hand, which I thought would be such a little nice souvenir to take home. Unfortunately, the shop was already full when I arrived, so I couldn't try it this time. But I'm definitely coming back for it on my next visit to Kawagoe. I really want to make a pair of my own. Okay, of course, we want to experience Starbucks in an old town near Toki No Kane or Bell Tower. The shop opened in March 2018, very recent, and was specifically designed to blend into Kawagoe's historic Karazukuri streetscape. So we've been here since early this morning, so I decided to end the vlog by having another dessert. So we're in the shop specializing in one of the city's favorite ingredients, sweet potatoes. The shop has been making daigaku imo or candied sweet potatoes since 1930. I went for something a little simpler, their purple sweet potato soft serve or murasaki imo soft cream. It was 400 yen. And just like that, I'm on the bus leaving Kawagoe, on the way to the train station, heading back to Tokyo. I have to say that this is one of my successful day trips because I was able to wake up early to maximize discovering another Otherworld. Hope you explore with me again soon. And please don't forget to like and subscribe because it will help my channel grow. Thank you again for watching.